Morning, good morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Indeed, good morning to you today and welcome to Wednesday the 30th of April, 2025. I am Pearson Bowen and it's so wonderful having you company. Welcome to a brand new day, to the start of what is perhaps great opportunities for you and yours as well to do something different. And most of all, to just have a good time. Be your best self and be your best self to others as well. To those of you watching us on our streams on YouTube, Facebook, and our website, cbc.bb, as always, good morning. Good having you company. Remember always, while online, to share the show. Share it with someone who you believe knows or knows not of who we are and what we do, so that they too can come along to experience what you experience every single day. So, share some love. Share it with everyone that you know about. Tell them about us, and we're thanking you already for doing so. If you know of something or someone and who you think we need to share on the show, information we need to spread to the rest of the world, that's good information, of course, send us an email. Our email address is morninbarbados@cbc.bb. morninbarbados@cbc.bb, and already we are thanking you for partnering with us to share the best of who we are across the globe. Now, it is the 30th of April. That means it is the deadline for you to file your personal income taxes. I'm seeing your reaction. I'm hearing your reaction. I know how it feels because I did mine yesterday. By the sniff of it, I remembered, oh shoot, it's the 29th, I need to do it. And you know, you need to get on board because today is your deadline. All self-employed people, employees with an annual income above 25,000, contributory pensioners with an annual income from any source above 45,000, that's what you need to do. You need to file your personal income tax returns today. Today's the deadline. And as you know how it goes online generally, we tend to forget our password. We forget also our username. And so I suspect the BRA is going to be quite busy today. And so, you know, if there's a line, you have to wait, be patient. If you're calling for clarification or for a readjustment, as I had to of my password, you have to be patient. So let's do that today, to file your personal income tax returns. Also, it's a deadline for other income tax filing as well, so I hope that you pay close attention to getting that done today. Yes, the time has come up. It's the 30th of April today. Also, today at polyclinics across the island, as you know, this is vaccination week in the Americas. We want to remind you why vaccinations are so important. So you need to go into polyclinics. Take your little ones into polyclinics. Get an update on whether or not you have been fully vaccinated against a whole host of viruses that exist, as we know that we have already been vaccinated as children. But perhaps you need a booster. Vaccination opportunities are available at polyclinics across the island today. If you need to update your card, vaccination cards for your children, take those cards along as well. Let the nurses and professionals there see the information as to your progress in the vaccination for your child, and they will provide you with vaccinations. Simple Simon met that payment. So please go to the vaccination centers today at all polyclinics to update your vaccinations. Measles is one of those viruses that's about, and it travels easy. It is spread easily. And so therefore, if you're not yet vaccinated for measles, today is a good day to do so. Go to the polyclinics and be vaccinated. Go to the polyclinics, get the information. And the David Thompson Health and Social Security First Social Services Polyclinic is also open today. They have open day. And while you can go there for your vaccination, you can go there and experience a whole host of other activities as well. They have a whole day of activities at the David Thompson Health and Social Services Polyclinic in St. John. You knew it as the St. John Polyclinic. They're opening their doors to you today to come in, not just to discuss vaccination alone, but other health options available to you. There are other activities that they're having today. I want to encourage you all to go out and be a part of it. I like to start the day with a riddle. Get your brain wake up, man. So I have a riddle for you today. You know what to do, right? To call me on 228-5562 or 228-5563. And before we forget, there's a lady who goes by the name of, that's the question, work out the question and call me. There's a lady who goes by the name of Miss Lopes. Miss Lopes. And every time I hear Lopes, I think of Olga Lopes Seal. But this is a Miss Lopes, a Barbadian. And she was so kind to me a few days ago, and I wanted to remember her today. Miss Lopes, thank you for your kindness, indeed. And I hope if you know Miss Lopes, that you call her and tell her that she was talked about on Morning Barbados. So the question today is, what is it that no one wants, but no one wants to lose? Got you good, right? What is it that no one wants, but no one wants to lose? What do you think on heaven's earth that could possibly be? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Call me now if you are a genius and let me know, what is it that no one wants, but no one wants to lose? It is so important indeed. Call me and let me know. It is simple, simple, simple for real. It's as obvious as you see it. 228-5562 or 228-5563. What is it that no one wants, but no one wants to lose? You don't want it, but you still don't want to lose it. So what is that thing or things? 228-5562 or 228-5563. To the little ones who are 11-plussers getting ready for the exam, it's just another day. Next week is just another day. It's just another week. Don't panic yourselves. As Margaret Grant would have reminded you yesterday, pace yourselves. Parents, don't dwell on them. They've done their best so far. So allow them to just do what they know they can do, and the best will come them. So don't pressure them, please. Allow them time to just breathe and relax. Feed them well. Allow them to rest as well, but don't panic them, please, please, please. The 11 plus is only next week, Tuesday. So we have a call. Good morning to you. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm not bad. I'm alive.
I keep telling you, don't put in the negatives. I'm doing well.
I am doing well. I am alive.
No, I ain't doing bad. I'm alive. That's what you said, isn't it?
Yes, please.
Right, so what you should say is, I'm doing well. Keep it
well.
positive. When you speak negative into your space, negative will attend you. Okay?
Okay.
Have I just reminded you of that?
Yes, please.
All right, don't forget it here.
I would.
Monica?
Yes? You know me.
I know you. I know your voice by now, Monica. You should know me by now, too, that I would pick up on those things. So, Monica, give me an answer and give me a right answer.
I don't want nobody suing me, so I want to win a lawsuit. So, I want it's a lawsuit.
What is it that no one wants, but no one wants to lose?
Nobody giving them a lawsuit, but I don't want to lose the lawsuit neither.
Monica?
Yes, please.
Where would you come up with such an answer from? Where you got that from?
I heard it already.
Monica, don't come that to me. Monica?
I heard of it already.
Monica, I have been around the sun many, many times.
Yes, I heard this riddle already. What do you think? Why do you think I called you so fast? Because I heard it already.
I thought you called me so fast because you went online.
No. No.
All
I
right.
was reading the paper.
All right, Monica, let me test your brain and your memory right now. You are right on that one, by the way. You're absolutely right. It's a lawsuit. Monica, you ready for this one?
Yes.
Work your magic on me again.
Yes.
The more there is, the less you see. What am I? Quick. The more there is, the less you see. What am I?
Let me see.
Come, 10 seconds. Go.
Let me see.
Quick. 9.
I'm trying to figure it out.
8, 7, 6,
I'm trying to
5,
figure it out.
4, 3,
I can't
2.
figure it out yet.
I know, because you get enough time to Google.
I ain't gonna Google it.
Monica, you think I born yesterday for real? For real, real? Oh, I not that old? Good dear, man.
I ain't Google it for true. I swear, I did not Google it.
All right, Monica, no problem. Thank you. Here?
Yes, please.
Have a good day. Have a good day.
too.
All right. The more there is, the less you see. What am I? I will hold that for you a little later on because I want to tell you what's coming up today. Today, we want to take a look at the Small Island Future Festival, which has been relaunched after 6 years in hiatus. You want to hear what we can expect this year. Can't wait to talk more about that. Now, the annual fair of the St. Barnabas Anglican Church is on tomorrow. we are going to get more details in just a moment about what we can expect at the fair and why they do it all the time. And that man who is a road safety specialist, whose name I shall not call, will join us in just a little while as we take a look again at some of the nonsense we do on our roads and remind us of the good things we ought to do on our roads to keep us and others safe as well. It's Autism Awareness Month. It concludes today, and so we continue to stand in support of all the activities of the Autism Association of Barbados. That's why I'm wearing my blue. That's not just why I'm wearing my blue, but I'm wearing my blue in support as well. And we want to hear a little bit more about how you spot autistic children in the classroom and some of the tools and techniques that teachers can employ to be able to manage, not just, and I don't mean in a harsh way, but be able to cope with children of autism and give them the best start to their lives as well. And Rachel Agard will join us in just a little while as we continue to delve into the outcome of the general elections in Trinidad and Tobago. Shocking for some, not for others, but we'll take a look at what happened there in TNT as Rachel Agard from our newsroom here at the CBC will delve a little bit deeper into the outcome. All right, let's get started this morning as we start with what's happening tomorrow, May Day, at St. Barnabas Anglican Church, the annual fair, and a whole lot more. And joining me to talk more about this is our two church wardens, Stanley Aline, but you're also the administrator of the daycare center for elderly.
That's right.
Right, Stanley, morning.
Thank you.
You heard our voice. And of course, the other man whose name shall not be mentioned, Junior Jordan. Good morning, Junior.
Good morning to you and to all viewers everywhere.
Thank you, Verdi. All right.
Good.
So tomorrow, Stanley, is the big day.
That's
tomorrow
right.
is the big. How many years have you guys been doing this now?
We're celebrating 60 years this year, actually.
60?
Diamond year, 60 years.
Wow.
Long
That's
time.
Fantastic.
And it's been going great for all those years. We never stop.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that members around this community and beyond will remember May Day. We had one occasion which we didn't put on the fair on May Day. That was a Saturday, and that was not as successful as we would have wished.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember some people came actually on the May Day because that's familiar.
That's the date.
That's the date. But unfortunately that year we had to put it on the Saturday. But so far we're going pretty good. And I'm sure that those people out there who are listening now, who haven't gotten the tickets yet, I'm sure they're going to rush them more at the door to getting. We always have a good crowd, very manly crowd, no problems. And I'm sure we're looking forward to a lovely day tomorrow, lovely sunshine, and a lots of children as well. Have a lot of things for the children to do, so bring those children out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them stay home, bring them out. You can bring them along. Come and spend some money. That's what we need.
And all of this money goes
Yes.
towards the work at the elderly
center, daycare center.
So talk to me a little bit about that center, since you're the administrator.
Okay, the center was opened in September 1983. We're doing now 42 years this year in September. And this was the brainchild of Don Blackman, former minister, and our priest in charge, Reverend Bernard Griffith at the time. They thought of something for the elderly because Mr. Blackman was dealing with the elderly at that time. And he think that St. Barnabas would have been a good place to start this center. And we've grown from strength to strength. We are presently looking at maybe improving our numbers to about 25. We average about 18 per day. And people come, people go, and it is something that the diocese in Barbados should at least follow as well. We're the only church in Barbados that has this daycare center.
Yeah.
And I believe maybe in the island as well. So we need to look after our old people, or elderly, which you say, so that at least they have somebody to keep them going day by day until they can get back home with the family and so on. And that is really one of the things that we really love. It's a great outreach program, and I'm sure that many listening would want to be part of this. So come on out Thursday, support the fair, and this money will go towards our running of the fair for another year.
And it's a hospice. It's not a hospice, sorry. You're not providing medical services. It's just an activity center.
An activity so
for
that
seniors.
Yes, so that they can act with one another.
Yeah.
Sit and chat. We can have games. We can have Bible study. We can
them
have
active.
walks along the churchyard and so on. So that keep the old people active in what they do on a daily basis. Family at work, and they're being looked after at the center.
And Junior, no doubt that's why you're a part of this, right? Because you're looking forward to your days of having those walks around the area.
Yes, good
I
morning.
just tease you, buddy. So let's talk about tomorrow, Junior. What details for me what we can expect?
Yes, it's what we call a family affair, the days. 60 years is not 60 days. And as Stanley said, the proceeds go towards the upkeep of the Senior Citizens Daycare Center. From craft that you can buy, clothing, books, there's going to be lots of toys for children, jumping tents. There's also going to be entertainment. Simon on sax.
Yikes.
Gerald
Nice.
Hunt, as you know.
Yes, of course.
Right? And there's going to be modeling. That's going to be dazzling with dashing models and guys. And I also want to say to people, when you come, you can also register for the karaoke. As a matter of fact, I put down your name first.
You have already?
Yes.
Okay,
And
good.
you're going to be up against Dr. Morrell.
Oh, that's a piece of cake.
So he's
Piece
coming
of
second.
cake. Of course. A
Dr.
no-brainer,
Morrell, you heard
Julian.
that, right? Good.
So what song have you put me down for?
I'll tell you tomorrow.
So there's karaoke as well.
Karaoke, music, there's going to be wholesome music, there's going to be modeling. You're also going to have people, you're going to be able to buy the plants, as I said, the books, the craft, wholesome entertainment. And indeed, I wish to say now, there's going to be extra security and lights because the grounds have now been furnished with perimeter lights.
Nice.
So there's no problem with security. In addition to having the normal security officers and the other people. But it's a day where you will be no other place but St. Barnabas. And the entertainment package is there for you. Because we want people to understand churches, particularly St. Barnabas, has to do with family. And Dr. Williams spreads that message right through. And you will not be disappointed when you come to St. Barnabas Fair tomorrow. The entertainment package is there for you. And I'm one of the two MCs, if you will.
Okay. So who's the other MC?
Mitchell Maxwell.
Oh, Mitchell.
Yes, you're a good friend.
Yes. You're big, against a big one, Junior.
Yes. We've been doing it for the last couple of years.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think that people understand that it's a family affair, and sometimes people even come to get in before the fair starts.
I know.
to get
I
the
was coming
badges.
to that.
Yes.
So what time do the doors start open? Well,
The doors
doors
open at
open
1 o'clock.
Yeah.
One in the afternoon.
And we go through to 7.
To 7. So
Yeah.
1 to 7. All of this happening. There's just 6 hours.
That short
basically?
space of time, 6 hours.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot to have to get done. Parking is always a problem because the roads are only so many.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
mentioned that, Pearson. I want to suggest to people who come to park, because we've had challenges in the past, because sometimes buses come through that area. So we want people to park in the other St. Barnabas areas, but please park in an area on one side of the street if you have to, but allow space for other people to park. And I also want
And
to
pass.
And pass, yes. And I also want to suggest that at that fair, we may just come across a person who has attended all 60 fairs.
That's nice. That'll be
All
good to
60.
see. Yeah.
You'll know tomorrow.
Really?
Yes, you'll know tomorrow.
This is
60
sweet.
fairs.
So something for children, something for all ages.
Yes.
Plants and also all sorts of wholesome activity is going on. Food and drinks will be on
Food,
sale.
Of course. Yeah.
And all of these funds go towards the Senior Citizens Center.
Yes. That's
Indeed. It's not a Senior Citizens home, it's a Senior Citizens
daycare
Day Center.
center.
Yes.
And so we want you to really come out and support this activity indeed. And so, Stanley, as the administrator,
Yeah.
you've seen the people who've come through.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we want to drop off the woman. Are the men also in the center?
Yes, women and men. Yeah.
Okay, good,
Both.
good. And so apart from the activities of walking around, you say you do Bible study and the like. So
Yeah.
they get a chance to reconnect
That's right.
with their spirituality.
And at least they, bring them together so that they feel at home. Because we want to make sure that one is not left alone. And this is happening now because we have a lot of elderly people who are still at home, and we want to make sure that they come out in a situation where there's a family
Yes.
together, so that makes them feel comfortable. They can sit and chat. They can do craft. They can do things like Bible study as well,
Crossword.
and crosswords. They have a rest time, so that you don't force them into doing anything.
Right.
But they can get up and walk around, make themselves
And
feel
have some
comfortable.
food as
That's
well.
right. Have-
Feed them as
of
well.
course,
So,
yes.
so
And
all
that's-
of these costs.
Yes.
Yeah, you know that part. All of that costs. So therefore, the funds from this fair, a big family affair, are going towards that activity. To
That's right.
Maintaining the running
Yeah.
of the center, or at least over the next year.
That's right.
So we really want people to come and be generous.
Yeah.
Be very,
Yes.
very generous in their offerings as well. And so we're seeing success. We've had success over 60 years, and we want more success this
Yes.
year
Exactly.
from 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
1 o'clock.
Right through to 6 in the afternoon. And so all of us, we're all invited indeed to come on down. Children under 5, you're free. At the general admissions, well, just $5.
Just $5. And we've been so for years. $5. Easy.
So we, even in spite of inflation and all of that,
We
you
still keep
manage?
it at the $5. Makes it quite easy for everybody to come on out.
Yeah.
you know.
$5 is all. It's celebrating 60 years tomorrow, Thursday, on the grounds of the church, St. Barnabas, Anglican Church. You know where it is, right here next to CBC practically. And you come for the annual fair and flea market. All sorts of things will be on sale. Clothing on sale as well?
Clothing,
Yes.
yeah.
No fleas.
No, please.
Clothing.
And just have a good time.
And a lot of different artifacts and so on as well. you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Nice.
So we have quite
Lucky
a number
dips
of
and all
things.
that. for the
Lucky
children.
dips.
Yeah.
You just
the
read my
children.
mind.
Yes,
Like I was just
yes.
going to ask about that. So
Yes,
things for everyone to do. Just a really wonderful family occasion.
Absolutely.
As Junior reminded you, when you come, park with conscience.
Correct.
You know, remember there are other road users who need to use the space as well. And if you can't park there, don't park there. Find somewhere else to park. But come, really have a good time. And I know the churchyard is usually packed
Yes,
with
it is.
people.
Yeah.
But there's space for you to do all of the other things, the karaoke, the dancing if you choose to do so,
Models.
the entertainment with the MCs, Junior being a part of them,
Yeah.
and the modeling. And so it's full
That's
of
right.
fun.
And then there's also play part for the children. Come on out and you can leave the children there and go and do what you have to do, and somebody will look after the children.
Good.
Especially the toddlers, you know, we make sure that everybody is comfortable in there and having a good time.
Yeah.
That's all about.
Somebody asked me to ask you, you know, there's a catwalk for modeling. Could a dog go on a catwalk?
That's a very good question, you know. Can a dog go on a catwalk? Can you answer that question? You know I don't answer questions, so I ask questions. Can a dog go on a catwalk? Good, smart man, Junior, smart man. What's your answer?
Of course.
How?
You can just walk.
So, folks, that's part of the fun you'll have tomorrow. Tomorrow, May 1st, we're going to St. Barnabas Church for the big annual family fair and flea market, opening from 1 o'clock till 7 o'clock. You have quite a number of hours, but not a lot of time. But we want as many of you as possible to come, because your funds go towards aiding the St. Barnabas Senior Citizens Daycare Center. And we are already thanking you for coming to do so. Children are free if they're under 5 years old. It's just $5 to let everyone in. But come, bring your cash, because there are no card points there, but bring your cash, spend your cash, leave with something really, really wonderful indeed. But most of all, you have a great time lending support to this very worthwhile cause. Thank you so much, Stanley.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Junior.
My pleasure, sir.
And as always, I wish only success.
We thank you
Certainly
very
shall.
much.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Likewise, Mornin Barbados comes right back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Here we go! God will not give you a job. God will not call you to do something and then not give you the capacity to have it, to make it happen. He will give you the resources, He'll give you the people. Not only will He equip you with ideas, but He will equip you with favor, as He did Nehemiah.
Turn on the latest episode of Infinite Possibilities, only on CBC TV8, every Sunday at 1:30 p.m., sponsored by Covenant Life Teaching Center.
Welcome to Nature's Discount, the ultimate health food store. At Nature's Discount, we have thousands of quality products at great prices.
Hi guys, Dottie here with Nature's Discount, and today we are talking about Solar Ray, microbiome, probiotics, and why you should be taking them.
And we have well over 3,000 amazing products to help you get healthy.
For your health tips, tune in to CBC TV8 every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for Nature's Discount, sponsored by Get Healthy Incorporated.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
25 minutes now after the hour of 6 o'clock as we continue our conversation with Junior Jordan, this time as the road safety specialist and driving instructor. Junior, what irritates you right now about how we use our roads?
Pearson, there's so many things, but just let me give you a brief. What I have found since 2019, since COVID has gone, that people a lot of them seem to have lost their mind for the rules and regulations. One of the main things that a lot of people continue to do, not stopping at T-junctions, putting the front of the car too far into the main carriageway, running red lights. I have seen people, sometimes 3, 4, and 5, go through red lights, and that is dangerous in the extreme. But one of the major things now, I have to say, is that as an instructor for all these years from 1978, it has gotten so terrible on the streets, training, that the students are partially afraid. Why? As a classic example, you're training a student, you're within 15 or 20 feet of a junction to stop. But therefore the student is taking the time, they're slowing down, doing the hand signals and all that. And somebody, in some cases 2 people, zip by and go into that stop before them, which forces the student to go into what's called emergency mode. That is not good. I wish to ask the people of this country, those of you who are guilty of it, don't you remember that you used to learn to drive, albeit at a time when there were not as many vehicles? Because nearly 200 and something thousand vehicles, not 200, those are licensed drivers. There are approximately 130 something thousand vehicles in the country. But what we need to do is to really understand the importance of paying attention to the rules and regulations, even in our neighborhoods and where we live. Statistically worldwide, it shows that most collisions and accidents and near misses happen in places where we are familiar, homes, churches, schools, neighborhoods. But I want to implore people, it takes, as I've said this several times over several years, it takes only 3/4 of a second to lose a life, or wink eye, and you can be dead. So I want people to understand the importance of paying attention to the rules. One of the real bugbears now is that since COVID, people are getting the entrepreneurial spirit. And as such, they're setting up all kinds of selling points all over the place, including dangerously on corners. What people are doing to get the produce and the things that they need, they're actually stopping their vehicles on the corners. And in some cases, I have noticed that if somebody recognizes somebody selling something that they want, they have passed the corner. Guess what? The people stop and begin to reverse around the corner. Now, that seems to me like somebody who's left their brain elsewhere. You know, but it's really dangerous. And we need to understand the importance with insurance premiums as there are. No, we're not paying taxes anymore for the private sector vehicles. But we need to understand that to maintain a vehicle, to repair a vehicle, if it gets into collision, it's not actually $4.
Correct.
You know, it's expensive. And then we go into the aspect of the injury to the human person. And you know, the rehab and the time spent and all that. So we need to understand the importance of doing what we have to do in our neck of the woods. And I also want to say this as it relates to parents and guardians. When you have young people learning to drive, listen to me, and as I say, listen to me good. When you're driving with them, I implore you to do the things that you know are right. Why? Because the students are following your lead, what's your training, but most disastrously on tests. I give you a classic example. Many years ago, I was told there was a student who was on test. And her parents used to come to a particular T-junction every morning, both the husband and the wife. And they never stopped. Wow. Guess what? The test happened to have gone in that exact spot. The student did exactly what the husband and the wife continued to do and failed the test, obviously. When asked by the testing officer, but why didn't you stop? My mother and father don't stop here. Easy like that. So the things that you do influence the children, even in life period. But when it comes to driving, it is important to understand that a vehicle can maim, figure, and disable people. But more importantly, any person who gets behind the wheel of any vehicle, whether it's an 18-wheeler, a truck, a bus, an SUV, you are totally responsible for that vehicle movement any place, reversing, parking, and all that. So we need to understand the importance of doing it right, simply because it is right, and the students will follow suit. They certainly will.
They will indeed.
Yes.
But for me, other road users, when you see a learner driver,
yes,
I think that's your time also to show best example.
Absolutely.
You know, don't just figure, oh, well, you're being taught, that's up to y'all.
Yes.
You also are part of the teaching process. So give best example. But using whether you're an indicator, you just give the distance if you're overtaking, that kind of thing. Just be patient.
Yes. Not only that, let me add to that. Some adults, when your child or ward goes to drive, I am certain that you will not want them to come home and say to you, but somebody cut across me, mommy or daddy, because as I say, all hell is going to break loose because you're going to be upset. But no, but you have to show the example. And from the baby stage, but on the roads, it is really serious. And our traffic volume has increased tremendously. So we need to understand the importance of timing when we have to go places. Let's say, for example, you live in Christchurch and you work in St. James, and you have to get to work for 7 o'clock. You cannot leave home at 7:15.
Correct.
You have to leave home with enough time for delays, flat tire, if the police are going to check in, taxes and so on. So you have to give yourself extra time because you don't want to be speeding. And of course, going over the speed limit is a no-no in itself. And we need to understand the importance of being in total control of that vehicle every single time. Every single time.
The other part that irks me, Judy, I'll tell you, is the distance between one vehicle and the other.
Yes.
Listen to me. You are driving, and there's free road ahead of you. The person behind you who is already distance behind you figures they have to be up behind you.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm thinking to myself, but the road is there, all this road. Why are you on behind me so close?
Yes, that's a good point, Pierce. Let me say this. In a lot of areas, people give the wrong information regarding how close you should drive behind somebody. It is simple. For every 10 kilometers you drive at, you calculate one vehicle distance. Simply put, if you're driving at 20, the closest you should be to the person ahead of you, 2 vehicle distance. 33, 44, see what's happening in my hands? 50, 60, and so on. In other words, you leave what is called a space, a safe cushion space. But people up behind you tailgating and they're blowing the horn to get you to go faster. People who are, people who are intent and content to stay within the confines of the Road Traffic Act and regulations as it relates to speed. But people really tailgate, and that's a disaster waiting to happen. Because if the person has got to decelerate rapidly, or as we say in Barbados parlance, stop sudden, you can very well find yourself rear-ending that person very easily.
I'll tell you what crosses my mind sometimes. Father, forgive me. Father, forgive me. You're ahead. You see there's a hole coming, right? I'm going to take you to that hole and swerve suddenly. Then you bam into that hole. That should teach you. Lord, forgive me. But, you know.
Yeah, but
seriously, because you need to be taught a lesson. And sometimes you feel that way.
Yes, you do. But another thing with the holes and dodging holes, there are a number of people who have reorganized or bespoke their cars, cut them off and have low-profile cars. And the smallest hole they see on the street, they go on the other side of the road, making the person coming on the opposite side scramble. No, you need to slow down, stay on your side. And even if it's a ditch that's really big and you need to go around it, you need to show people the courtesy that I'm going over to the right and then coming back over nicely to the left.
By using my indicator?
And hand signal if necessary.
And hand signal if
yes.
necessary.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people who, because they're using AC, they don't use hand signals, they don't use indicators, anything like that. And there are a number of people who mislead people by coming on the main road to make a left turn, indicator on, and then suddenly they turn to the right, or vice versa.
Yes.
So that is dangerous in the extreme. And one of the other things that I have been experiencing over the last couple of days, people are overtaking at the wrong time. There's somebody coming on the opposite side, but they decide that you're moving so slow that they're going to pass, forgetting that there's somebody coming opposite. But you know what? That decision could lead to the most dangerous collision of all, a head-on collision. And what people don't realize is that in a head-on collision, the forces are multiplied 4 times over. And it's a sudden shock and hemorrhage that causes people to lose their lives. So we need to understand life is sacrosanct and cannot be replaced. So whether we're going to a picnic, whether we're going to church, wherever, coming to work as a professional, you make sure that you leave, calculate your time, leave in good time, so that you have time just in case something happens, flat tires and so on.
You always remind us, on radio particularly, about checking your vehicle before you move.
Yes.
Remind us of those checks.
That is critical. The number of people, once they get in and turn the engine, and in some cases they're and they're gone. They don't check. You really ought to check your vehicle. With newer vehicles, you wouldn't check as often as an older vehicle. But in terms of the vehicles, walk around, make sure the tires are good. If you have time, check the oil, the washer compartment, make sure that the brakes are good, because I know of a case where persons have put down a vehicle overnight. Brakes working all right, because a vehicle has been made by mankind and can fail. And they get up in the morning, and when they go on the brake, the foot goes right down to the floorboard. What if that person had driven off and not checked the brake properly? Obviously, they might get into a collision. And training helps us to do that. Look under the vehicle. Why are you looking under the vehicle? Because you're checking for tires that may have a bulge on the inside, a cut, a line may be loose, brake fluid, stuff like that. Because cars are made very powerful and very quick. And it is important to be able to get a vehicle to move, but absolutely more important to be able to get that vehicle to stop with you stopping it. Because it can stop by hitting a truck or something else. But you must be in control at all times, morning, noon, and night. And talking about night, that's a different ball game.
Totally different ball game.
Dim your lights at night, because a lot of people appear to have eye challenges and they themselves don't know. And people have gone to change the bulbs on the vehicles and make them really, really extra bright. And sometimes they don't dim them, but it dazzles the persons coming on the opposite side.
LED lights at times, so even though you're dimmed, they're still quite bright.
Yes, they're very, that's the system, the way the world is going now. But I want to suggest that anytime you're driving at night and you're dazzled, don't fight fire with fire, so to speak.
Slow down.
Slow down, and in a worst case, keep left, and in a worst case scenario, stop. Let them go, and then you go safely on your way. That's the bottom line. Safety first, second, and third. Morning, noon, and night are in between.
I'm being asked in my ear to ask you whether or not the individual who owns the vehicle can themselves make adjustments to the brightness or dimness of the level, the lighting levels.
They can, but it's always better to get a professional to do that, because you don't want to adjust the lights and then recognize that you've adjusted them incorrectly. Because there's a certain height that the light should come up where it doesn't dazzle the person on low beam. And in Barbados, we drive on the left-hand side. So when you adjust your lights, particularly on the low beam, it should spot to the left side. In North America, they spot to the right. So if you're on low beam and you dip, your light should come down to the left, so you can see the sidewalk on the left side. But again, people putting all kinds of bulbs and wattage and so on, and it makes it increasingly difficult for people to see at night.
Tell you what.
Really, really difficult.
Oncoming, and then there's the bright light behind you as well.
Yes.
All your mirrors are just glowing with these bright lights, and
Absolutely.
you're caught in the middle.
It is very, very difficult and very dangerous, particularly for people who may have eye challenges and don't know, glaucoma, cataract, or whatever, or just plain have a challenge with seeing at night.
All right. So with tomorrow being a public holiday, you know how people are.
Yes.
People are going to get relaxed a little bit on the roads, and so what is your best advice to those tomorrow in terms of road use? Because the road traffic feels so lighter, so much lighter.
Two things. Don't take it for granted that because it's a holiday and there may be less vehicles that you can drive quicker. One. Secondly, those of you who've planned to drive around the island, going in what are known as convoys, it is not a race to who gets to the destination first. Convoy driving is specific driving where you have the distances, as I explained earlier, because you don't want to be driving, you start out of 15 cars, you're number 15, but by the time you get to the picnic, you want to be number 1. It is not about that. It is about safety. Don't park if you're going to sightsee, stop and do your sightseeing in a safe place. Sometimes people are sightseeing and you see a hand come out the window pointing and all that. And it disturbs people because you don't know what you're doing. But take your time. If you're coming from Cloughs in St. Lucie or Centipede Alley.
Don't call that word in this place.
Sorry. And you're coming up to Silver Sands to your picnic, leave in good time. Allow for distances of travel and diversions and so on, but pay attention. And of course, the old, tried, tested and proven adage. Do not drink alcohol and drive. Drink milk, juicy, Morby and all them things. Then go and get you drunk. But a lot of people don't know their limitation when it comes to alcohol. And alcohol, one shot of alcohol, when it goes into the system, takes between an hour and a half to work itself through your system via the liver. And people sometimes when they start to drink, they drink what they see, not what they know their body can take. And of course, if you're going to be driving and you're going to have a good time, have the good time. But have 1 or 2 people designated as designated drivers who will not drink any alcohol, but who will be responsible for the driving, the safe driving to and from the activity.
Folks, we're going to leave it there. But Junior, as
Absolutely.
always, sage advice. Thank you
My
so
pleasure.
much. It's his pleasure. So, you know, it will be our pleasure to follow what Junior says.
Yes.
Thank you, Junior. All the
My
best.
pleasure.
Have
Good
a
to
wonderful weekend tomorrow. Well, not weekend, but tomorrow.
Tomorrow
With all the work at St. Barnabas and,
Yes.
and ongoing.
Come on over.
Come on over. We'll take a break here. We're back in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Week after week, Scald presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with extraordinary images and stories and takes him into fascinating worlds which he experiences here exclusively and up close. We're there when companies and specialists develop super satellites for a global network in space and can look behind the scenes. Scald is a window to everything that is there or is yet to come. Fly with us through time to better understand today and tomorrow. You've always wanted that. Scald, a look into the future.
Our world today is not the world God wants it to be. One of the reasons, which will surprise many, is that our planet, its governments, and its peoples are all living under the weight of Satan's rule. From the beginning of mankind's existence to today.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
18 minutes now to 7 o'clock. As you do know, the month of April is always celebrated as World Autism Month, Awareness Month. And so in Barbados, the Autism Association of Barbados has been advocating strongly this month to raise our awareness and to ask us to lend our support to what they do. And it starts sometimes as simply as our understanding of what autism is and our being able to identify when there is someone expressing symptoms or symbols or activities that would be aligned with autism, and then have them tested as well. So all month long, as you know, on Mornin Barbados, we've been reminding you to wear your blue, to be a lot more sensitive to children of autism, and so to be not just be in a sensitive, but to be able to help where help is needed indeed. And so help can be provided too in our education system. We're joined this morning by Jenna Paris, who is an educator, and she's also an advocate for children with special needs. Good morning to you, Miss Paris.
Hi, good morning.
Your children are watching, so we refer to you as Miss Paris.
Yes.
You are the principal of a nursery school.
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm. And so you're in the system and you understand, you see it before your very eyes every single day. What do you see that would suggest to you that the child might have a bit of a challenge?
Okay. First, morning, and thank you for having me here. As I've been working through the system over the last couple of years, what I've been recognizing is that in the earlier years, we do have students who are showing characteristics of autism, and some of the things you would see in the classroom would be some students who have reduced eye contact. You may have some students, for example, who prefer to play by themselves, or you would see them watching on and you can see that they want to play, but they don't know exactly how to go about, joining in. You may see some students as well who have some very repetitive behaviors. So they come to school and they do everything in the same sequence each and every time. They may select the same toys every time. You may have some children, the younger ones, who may line things up, like maybe blocks or cars, as opposed to just driving. They may just line them up and use their peripheral vision to kind of look at them. So there are certain things that you would see even in the older years, because our students who leave nursery school, who leave primary school, go on to secondary school, and autism isn't something necessarily that you're going to grow out of. What you do is you are equipped with strategies to help you to better cope, but you will always have autism. In your older students, you would find, again, challenges with social interaction. So, understanding what peers mean when they say things. Sometimes you will find that you have some students who take things things literally. So if you tell them, you better pull up your socks, most of the other children may laugh and say, well, okay, they know the joke you're making, but your child with autism may decide to actually pull up their socks because they think that's what you literally mean. You have some students, again, who have challenges with communication. They are some students nonverbal, meaning they say nothing at all. You may have some students who are minimally verbal, who may only speak when they want something in particular, or they may only use words or phrases. And then you have some students who can talk your ears off. The thing about autism is that every child you meet with autism is quite different. So it is best to leave the diagnosing to professionals. But once you've been in the system and you've been working with students and you've been working with persons over time, you tend to see certain things, and you can always highlight to the parent, well, we recognize that the child is having some challenges in these areas, are these things that you've recognized and so forth, so that the parent and school work very much hand in hand. But those are just some of the characteristics, yes.
But the teacher then scratches his or her head for how now do I break through with this child? Because I have a responsibility for instruction and to see the child not just follow my instruction, but to be able to achieve the milestones as it goes. What are some of the things, and as one of those who advocates for special needs as well, that you would suggest or would want the system to employ so that our children get the best starts?
So as a teacher, very much is first things first, learning that child as an individual. Whether the child has autism or not, each of us, we are individuals, and we want persons to treat us, the way how we would like. So therefore, I think that's the basis for everything, forming that relationship with your student in that class, getting to know, what is it that the child is uncomfortable, what situations make the child quite anxious, what's the child's interest, because if you think about it, if you're very interested in something, I can convince you to do anything once I use your interest. If I know you like cars and we're doing the alphabet and I put the alphabet on cars, more than likely you'll come over and want to try it. Then I say, well, okay, look at that worksheet and let's do this. So incorporating the child's interests, getting to know the child first, understanding the child and their profile, incorporating the child's interest in what you're doing. Very much as well using visuals. We take for granted that when we give an instruction that automatically the child should understand the instruction. Sometimes they don't. And because of the language and communication challenges some students have, because I say line up, what does line up mean? Especially if it's the first time I'm going to school. I'm at home. There's no reason for me to line up. And I don't have the vocabulary to understand that. So having a visual, a little picture card that shows persons lining up, or even you may not have a card. You might say, well, okay, I recognize this child is looking at me like I don't understand the instruction. Let me get some children and show them what line up means. So using visuals in the classroom, very much incorporating the child's interests, being very concise, and breaking down instructions for work that we're giving students. So let's not give the child 6 things to do all at one time. Let's chunk it. Let's do this first. When you're finished, you come back, we do something else. Even when you think of how students engage and interact, sometimes you may have to put some accommodations in place in the classroom. You want to also create that climate in the classroom where students understand, and even other teachers as well, that this child needs this support at this time. This is why we're doing this. And today, this child needs this support, and this is what we're doing for them. But another time you may also need some support, because sometimes I find that we sometimes make accommodations and persons don't understand why we're making other children feel unfair, or even some teachers not understanding, or even other parents looking on may not understand why we are doing this, or why it seems that we're making an exception for that particular child. But really what we're doing is putting support in place for that child so that they can be successful. So even in terms of creating the right classroom climate where students understand that the reason why we're giving John, the opportunity to do his work in chunks when you get your whole worksheet at one time is because this is what he needs. This is the support he needs. I've had instances where we had a child who fell, broke their arm, and child very much wanted to come to school. We said, let the child come to school. But that particular child needed assistance because it was their writing hand. So you create that climate so they understand that we all need support sometimes, and it's okay. We're not, necessarily playing favorites with anybody.
But sometimes children, even in their innocence, can be quite cruel. We at the adult think, oh, that's a harsh thing to have said. But the child in his innocence just said what they saw.
Yeah.
So how do you get, as a teacher of a classroom of, let's say, 10, 20 children to understand that this particular child is a little bit different from you, and to be able to get them to help you with this child as we go? How do you tell that to children?
Well, I've had the privilege of teaching in a special class, which also was within a mainstream primary school. And we had some students who would have transitioned from our special class and they would have gone into the mainstream setting for different classes. So we would have had sensitization sessions with the class where we would have spoken about what autism is, what does it look like, what does it mean, and then speak about the individual child, but then also going around and allowing each child the opportunity to talk about something, about themselves that makes them unique, so that they again understand that we are all unique and we all need different things at different times. So we would have gone through those sessions, not a one-off session as well, because they're children, and very much you need to keep reminding them about things. Even I'm thinking, even in my current setting, we've had I'm going to say appointed, friends.
Yes.
And they would, anytime the child needs assistance, very much jump in. And it almost became like automatic, like they look out for each other. And if you're a family and we're a classroom, and while we're in a classroom setting, we're a family, you look out for each other. Whether I have autism or not, if your classmate falls on the floor and they're injured, you go, you help them up. If they're struggling with a container, that's your classmate. They're part of your classroom family. You help them out. So it is creating that kind of climate and that kind of thought process in the classroom so persons understand we are all in this together, we are family in this space, and whatever our family need, we help them while we are working together.
It's a spectrum.
Yes,
and
please.
so understanding where the child falls in the spectrum as well is also going to be critical for the individual teacher.
Yes, please.
But the child will graduate at some point and go into another class experience with another teacher, and it feels sometimes as if you're starting all over again. The child, no doubt, feels that way. So how do you suggest that the whole system changes in such a way that the child does not have to feel as if it's starting all over again with a new teacher and a new experience?
Within the school setting, ideally what should happen is if my child is leaving and they're transitioning over to you, we as teachers should have a conversation about, what strategies have I been using in the classroom to assist that child? What is the child's profile like? What are those things that can be a trigger for the child? What are those things that makes the child uncomfortable? I know part of what was being discussed in the transformation is looking at student profiles. So if you create those student profiles and each teacher has access to it, then instead of us, having to kind of wonder, okay, well, let me learn this child all over again, very much you would have that information there that would pass from teacher to teacher, and each teacher would add their own experience, because as the child gets older, things will change. How the child is able to manage will change. So as you're updating that information, each teacher has insight into the history. But in the meantime, until that comes, as teachers, having conversations, if the child is going to be transitioning to that teacher, one of the things you can also do is allow the child some time to actually start spending some time with that teacher so that they can start to build their relationship as well, so that it's a smoother transition as opposed to, just, okay, bye, and they're meeting someone new for the first time.
Because children of autism tend to have social disorders, if you understand what I'm saying. They just don't like to have other people in their space too often. They just love to be by themselves, and they have a challenge sometimes with the noise that comes with that kind of association. So how do you break through? Or do we just get along with?
Well, interestingly enough, what I will say to you is that because, as you mentioned, it's a spectrum, we have some students who have no issues at all. Let me say no issues at all, but being in a large group with persons doesn't affect them. I have some students who I have to say, okay, go over here and give me a little break, because they're all over you. Yes. Or they're very close. I have some students who are very affectionate. So they will come and they will want hugs and, being lifted and so forth. So very much the range. But if you have a child who, has some kind of social anxiety in groups, what you can do is to start to assist that child by starting with a very small group and helping the child to navigate that interaction. You know, they may go with the group for a few minutes and then you allow them to go back again. You come back, you work with that small group again, and then you build and increase the group so that they become a bit more comfortable. It doesn't mean that they're going to like it,
Right.
but should they be in a setting where there's a large group that they've built up a tolerance for it for a period of time, and then they may need to take a break, but at least they understand what they're feeling and they understand, well, okay, I need to be with this group for a bit of time and then I'm going to be allowed a break, or I can, you know, move away from the space, a strategy to deal with it. And if you think about it, there's some of us, I don't like being in large groups. I tolerate it for as long, but as soon as my time is up, I move away.
You're autistic. Just kidding you.
You know, so it's very much teaching our students strategies to cope so that they are a bit more comfortable in situations, because you never know where life is going to take you and what situation you're going to be in, you know. So helping our students very much to manage their emotions, understand what is happening, and then give them strategies that if they're uncomfortable, that they know what they can do to navigate that situation.
And you're right. We look at education as crafting the individual to manage society as they age and grow, and managing themselves in society as well. And so it's equally important in this education system for children with neurodiversity to be able to be afforded those opportunities as well.
Yes,
and I know for a lot of parents, they fear the future for the child. How will this child cope? How harsh will society be to this child? Those kinds of questions are always in their conscience as the child grows. And so as one who advocates for special need, how sensitive really should this society be to children who are different?
I would honestly say over the years I've been working, I've been an educator now for about 23 years. I would say we have made some progress in terms of, you know, being a bit more open-minded. I've seen spaces start to open and be a little bit more accepting of our students who are neurodivergent. I can see that. However, I do think that we do have a ways to go in terms of those being a lot more open-minded, you know. Our students are here to stay, and we need to ensure that we are being fair, that they have the opportunity to go to play parks, you know, be able to walk the streets, are able to engage, are able to attend events, you know, families feel comfortable going to a birthday party, you know, because I find persons still behave in some instances like it's contagious. Like if I leave my child in this play park, they're going to catch it, you know. And I would think that as we're here now in 2025 with all this information, you know, that persons should be more knowledgeable and should be more sensitive, but there's still a ways to go, because I know there's also still some misconceptions about what it is and what it looks like. And I find what is a challenge for some persons is that you can have students with autism, you can have children with autism who academically can be working above some of their age peers even, but they will still have challenges with social interaction. They may not be able to answer simple questions, but academically, they're working with their peers.
In other words, they're just like all of us. All of us have wonderful academic success, and then we're so deficient in so many other areas.
Yes,
they're just like us.
Yes.
And if we get that construct in our head early o'clock, then we'll understand that they're just like us, and so we treat them fairly.
Yes, please.
I would hope. And so, Ms. Paris, thank you so much. I have to break it there, but this is such a big discussion. I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to you and learning from you as well. And so I hope that our viewers as well have been able to glean a lot of information that will help them cope with their private situations. And teachers, there's a lot resting on your shoulders, but the success is possible. The joy that comes from that success is also possible once you find the best way to treat to the individual child who needs you. And so, Ms. Paris, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're very welcome. The best teacher for your special needs. That's what one of our commenters on social media said about you, Shanice Kelman. Thank you so much. She thinks you're the best teacher for the special needs. I agree with you. We're going to take a break here. We're back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're at 7 now, and let's take a look at news. A bright tourist season. That's how Chairman of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, Javon Griffith, described the just concluded winter season. Speaking at the association's second quarterly meeting, he told the conference passenger arrivals were up year on year, but they were concerned over the levies recently introduced on some sectors of the hospitality industry. Trevor Thorpe reports.
The winter season was a good one, with figures up in nearly all areas. Chairman of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, Javon Griffith, says stayover arrivals were up, especially in February and March.
A total of 77,967 stayover arrivals were recorded, reflecting an increase of 4,274 over the 73,693 arrivals in January 2024. The United Kingdom remained our leading source market, contributing 31,695 visitors, though this is a marked slight decline from the 32,677 the previous year.
Mr. Griffith says cruise arrivals and infrastructural developments in the industry are up as well.
Landed cruise passengers rose to 39,405 compared to 37,786 in January 2024. Barbados welcomed 83 cruise ship calls in January compared to 71 during the same period last year.
However, there's an issue of concern, the $10 levy on the rental car sector. Mr. Griffith is offering a counter proposal.
A fixed $10 levy per contract. This structure is administratively simpler, fairer across different rental durations, and easier to integrate transparently into pricing systems. And number two, a reduced daily levy of $5 with exemptions. A lower daily rate combined with exemptions for long-stay visitors or capped weekly charges would help avoid excessive penalizing key market segments while still generating meaningful revenue.
The chairman says Barbados must be careful not to overburden the hospitality sector, and the BHTA is willing to meet with government to discuss the concerns. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Government continues to invest heavily in modern technology to enhance the country's early warning system. This as it provides the Barbados Meteorological Services with its second unmanned surface vessel and a new spotter buoy. The BMS Spotter Buoy and unmanned service vehicles were launched during a ceremony at the Barbados Coast Guard headquarters on the Mighty Griner Highway. Anesta Henry was there. She files this report.
Barbados strengthening its early warning system is a move to save lives. It is also a major undertaking to lessen the country's dependence on the National Hurricane Center for weather forecasting. That's according to Minister of Home Affairs and Information, Wilfred Abrams.
With what is happening in the U.S., we do not expect, or we are not depending on the accustomed collaborations we used to have before. We're not depending on the information from NOAA in the same as it was before. We're not depending on any information sharing from the National Hurricane Center. We, the Caribbean territories, have to put ourselves in a position where we can stand alone and predict and do modeling and forecasting for ourselves. It is not sufficient for us to look to a big brother to feed us in drips and drops, to withhold that information when the big brother wants to, and to punish us by way of it. This is not a game we're playing, this is lives.
Minister Abrams says government has provided the Barbados Meteorological Services with more financing over the past 4 years than it has ever received since being established in 1933.
The welfare was out to sea in advance of Beryl, going as close to the storm as we can get. That is why we knew even before the conditions triggered a warning inland. We waited for the fishermen to come in. Before we had cause to give the small craft advisory and to call ships back in the port, we knew we were dealing with above ordinary, extraordinary swells and conditions, and we asked our fishermen to come in even before that message went out to Barbados. That's what early warning and synergies are about.
Director of the BMS, Sabu Best, says the unmanned service vehicle, Seawolf, and the spotter buoy are two fascinating pieces of equipment.
If I was looking from the outside, I would say, wow, it's a fascinating piece of technology, especially the enhancements we've done with this drone, because we've learned so much over the last 2 years, so much. This represents a lot of improvements, a lot. I'm sure I'll discuss with you in greater detail of what's on this vessel. But it's a collaboration. And what these platforms will unlock, not only for the BMS, but even the public, and even for industries around this, fishing industries, tourism, etc., is going to be unprecedented. And let us lead, not BMS, but Barbados.
The new spotter buoy and the USV were commissioned today. Onesta Henry, CBC News.
As the Queen Elizabeth Hospital moves to improve and modernize healthcare on island, it has added another piece of equipment to its arsenal. Donated by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the new CT scanner will serve to meet the evolving needs of people with CT scans in the Accident and Emergency Department. The scanner was installed and commissioned in February and marks the first time that the A&E department will have that type of technology, and also now brings the number of CT scanners at the hospital to 2. Rachel Agard has a report.
Services at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital's Accident and Emergency Department have been boosted with the donation of a CT scanner. The donation forms part of the ongoing partnership with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Minister of Health and Wellness, Senator the Most Honorable Jerome Walcott, says the donation of equipment is testament to partnerships between faith-based organizations and the government.
I've been told that between 2022 and this year, the Church of Jesus Christ made donations totaling approximately 1.7 million to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and that is substantial, and you should be commended for the generosity. These donations have touched multiple areas of our healthcare delivery, from providing food hampers and important equipment for patients under the Transitional Community Care Program to supporting the gastrointestinal unit.
Senator Walcott says officials are not only focusing on boosting the needs of the A&E department, but other areas in the hospital as well.
Our efforts include the acquisition of a linear accelerator delivered in November last year. The construction and other work is ongoing as I speak, in preparation for its installation and commissioning, expected to be completed by July this year. This will provide appropriate radiation treatment for our cancer patients who are currently sent abroad for such treatment. In addition, funds, Mr. Clark, were recently allocated to the QH for the procurement of an MRI this financial year, a first for this hospital. This new equipment will most definitely help to transform the quality of health service being provided at this institution.
Area Authority 70 of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Elder Claude Gamiet, says as a church they want to continue to serve and they have plans for other projects and partnerships in Barbados.
The church is committed to help the people wherever we are and wherever are the people, to help them have a better life. Not only better health, but education and all the things that make life better. We believe that families are essential, and we want to strengthen the tissue of the community. And that's why we serve here in Barbados. We are committed to do more as we are allowed to.
Since its commissioning in February, the CT scanner has already performed over 450 studies. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Now to an item of sports. Barbados Pelicans pulled off a squeaker last night in the Windies Breakout League, defeating the Windward Infernos by 1 run at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Trinidad. Pelicans batted first, scored 199 for 5 off their 20 overs. Cheyenne Brathwaite led with 85 not out. That included 9 fours and 4 sixes, while Kevin Wickham added 64. The Infernos, in reply, ended on 198 for 9 off their 20. Teddy Bishop led with 61, with Naeem Young taking 3 for 29. It was the Pelicans' first win of the tournament. They'll next take on the Leeward Islanders Thunder tonight at 7. That's our news until now. We'll have more news on TV8 coming up at 12 noon. Mornin Barbados takes a break here. We're back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The Ministry of Youth Sports and Community Empowerment's Bridges television series is back. Join us every Wednesday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. on CBC TV 8. Don't you miss it.
God will not give you a job. God will not call you to do something and then not give you the capacity to have it, to make it happen. He will give you the resources, he'll give you the people. Not only will he equip you with ideas, but he will equip you with favor, as he did Nehemiah.
Turn on the latest episode of Infinite Possibilities, only on
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 11 minutes after 7 o'clock now as we turn our attention to taking a look at the Small Island Future Festival. It is back, baby. And joining us to talk a little bit more about that this morning is Dr. David Bino, who you know is always associated with this activity. He is the National Coordinator of the GEF Grants Program of the UNDP. And ta-da! Ashley Lashley is back. Ashley Lashley, the Executive Director of the Ashley Lashley Foundation. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning, Pearson. Good morning, Barbados.
So here we are. It is back. 6 years, David, since it's been on.
Amazing.
And I'm sure you're looking forward to having it back as well.
Definitely.
So what does it mean to you now that once again we're able to do this in Barbados?
It means a lot because really the Small Island Future Fest is the epitome of sustainability. And we've not seen that in a while in Barbados. We have AgriFest, we have other festivals, but we don't have another Small Island Future Fest. In fact, it's unique globally, and it's really a leader. It provides an opportunity whereby people can see, touch, feel, taste sustainability. And where else can you find it? You find it here in Barbados.
And all of this, the reason why some people find it difficult, I think, is because they don't quite see what sustainability means.
Yes.
And so to be able to give it taste, what would you say?
Yeah, I think that makes a difference because we see students are able to come and see what sustainability is, see people living it out. You hear about sustainable agriculture, you get to see it. You hear about having a greenhouse and you get to see it. Sustainable transport, all these things that we hear about and we talk about, we see. We hear about the blue economy, but people don't really understand that. We have practitioners there you can talk to, you can immerse with. These are things that make a difference. In fact, we had some people who went to the Small Island Future Fest in the first iteration. They won an award, and now they're global ambassadors for Barbados in relation to sustainability. You know, this young lady that we celebrate, Ashley also would have worked with us in the past, but there's this young lady,
Maria Marshall.
The first time she was spotted on the national stage was at the Small Island Future Fest. In fact, I provided a prize to her, and from that she blossomed. So it really, and now she's global. So it provides an opportunity to Barbados to really plant seeds that bloom. But remember, this festival is not just about Barbados. We're going to have people coming from across the Caribbean, and we're also looking towards having people coming from even as far as the Pacific, because it's this Small Island Future Fest, and it really celebrates everything that celebrates small islands, and that's what's so different about it.
Okay, but Ashley, you are so aligned with everything. I saw your head nodding when we were talking about sustainability as well, people not understanding what that means. And a lot of your initiatives are totally geared towards doing so. So from your perspective, help us understand so that we get people flooding into the UWI. We'll tell you the dates and times in just a moment. Flooding to the UWI for this edition of the Small Island Future Festival. What is sustainability and how can we see it and feel it and understand what we're engaging with?
So as you said that, Pearson, I was thinking, we can't talk climate action without allowing persons to understand what it means for them. And I think that is the overall beauty of this year's Small Island Future Festival. We have the theme Small Islands, Big Future. Because the reality is, as Dr. Bino mentioned, persons don't understand the complexity when our ministers, our Prime Minister is talking about climate change, sustainability. What is that? What does that have to do with me? How am I being affected? But the reality is all of the key pillars of sustainability, whether it's environmentalism whether it's economic, whether it's social, it all interconnects to us as human beings' daily lives. So that really puts this year's Small Island Future Festival at a pivotal point where it's a free public event that is breaking down the academic language into something more practical. We would be having 3 overarching zones where we will be having the green zone where we're really getting persons involved in agriculture. We're looking at a green loans fair with private sector and other persons within the electrical and hybrid vehicles industry. But we also be looking into like having solar panels present that persons can see how much that costs for me to put on my roof, because to be honest, when we're talking sustainability as well, persons want to know, how am I going to afford all of these things that government is saying that is important for me to get on the bandwidth of? So really and truly, the Small Island Future Festival this year is positioned in a way that Barbadians, persons across the region, and the wider populace knows that sustainability isn't just a fancy term, but it is a term that shows the importance of how I as an individual have a role to play in protecting my country, Barbados, and by the wider extension, other small island developing states. So I did mention the green zone. So then there would be a blue zone, which I'm totally fascinated about because we're looking at the concepts too of reduce, reuse, recycle that is embedded into this festival. So here I've reached out to Bees Recycling, Paul Bino, and asked Mr. Bino, sorry for calling you Mr. Bino, but I asked Mr. Bino, is it possible that I can get 2,000 recycled bottles? So we're actually building a recyclable structure within the blue zone, showing persons how to utilize and reuse the different plastic bottles, which we see are harming our oceans and harming our environment. Just the other day, I was talking that Barbados still has a major illegal dumping problem. So that focus would be heavily embedded into the blue zone. But then there's the health zone, because technically the health of our planet is also interconnected to the health of us as human beings. So the health zone is actually being powered by the Ministry of Health. There will be different cooking demonstrations. There would be different testing that would be happening within the health zone as well. But then there's another fascinating component as well, Pearson. Persons always ask, what does the United Nations do in Barbados? What role does the United Nations have to play? So this year we're actually building out, and it happened in previous editions, but this year we're building out a bigger UN village for this year's Small Island Future Festival, where we're trying to get as many UN agencies on board for that, and I'm sure Dr. Bino can talk about that. But in looking at this year's concept for the United Nations Village, I said to myself growing up, I remember one of my favorite cartoons was that of the Smurfs. And to me, the Smurfs represents the importance of collaboration. And for me, growing up, seeing the work that different UN agencies have been doing, it really shows the power of collaboration across the United Nations. So it is going to be a free public engagement. We will be having the kids zone as well. We can't forget the kiddies. We'll be creating an experience for Barbadians. We'll also be having on the Friday, sizzle and jazz night. It's actually Sizzle and Jazz Night. It's actually going to be an after work event as well, from 6 to 8 p.m. for persons after work to just come down, learn about sustainability, have fun with jazz, have your grilled foods. So we're really trying to create an experience for persons to really understand that sustainability could be fun. And then on the Saturday, we'll be having a pickle soca day. So you'll be coming down for your pickle foods. I'm actually trying to get a sponsor on board to see who can eat the hottest sauce as well. And then, so it's going to be a whole 2 days full of so much activities. It starts at 9 a.m. straight down to 8 p.m. And throughout the entire days of activities, we'll be having so much levels of engagements for students, for adults, for senior citizens. No matter your background, there will be something for you to get, because we will have different prizes throughout the day. but also it will be something for you to have fun while still learning about the green and the blue economy and sustain. Oh, and there will be a green fashion show as well.
This is not wearing grass. Yes. There's a lot more to talk about, folks, and there's one more zone which Ashley has not yet mentioned. She shall mention that after this break. We'll be coming right back.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
God will not give you a job. God will not call you to do something and then not give you the capacity to have it, to make it happen. He will give you the resources. He'll give you the people. Not only will He equip you with ideas, but He will equip you with favor, as He did Nehemiah.
Turn on the latest episode of Infinite Possibilities, only on CBC TV8, every Sunday at 1:30 p.m., sponsored by Covenant Life Teaching Center.
Welcome to Nature's Discount, the ultimate health food store. At Nature's Discount, we have thousands of quality products at great prices.
Hi guys, Dottie here with Nature's Discount, and today we are talking about Solar Ray, microbiome, probiotics, and why you should be taking them.
And we have well over 3,000 amazing products to help you get healthy.
For your health tips, tune in to CBC TV8 every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for Nature's Discount, sponsored by Get Healthy Incorporated.
Week after week, Scold presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with extraordinary images and stories and takes him into fascinating worlds which he experiences here exclusively and up close. We're there when companies and specialists develop super satellites for a global network in space and can look behind the scenes. Scold is a window to everything that is
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
SIF is more than just a festival. It's really about creating a movement that builds resilience, or inspires resilience rather, inspires creativity, inspires innovation. As a champion for sustainability, environmentalism, youth engagement, I believe that the core pillars of the Small Island Future Festival is certainly, as Lydia said, mention prosperity and peace. In conceptualizing this year's Small Island Future Festival with the team at the Ashley Foundation, we really wanted to have a fusion between three economies: the green economy, the blue economy, and the orange economy. So we are organizing the Small Island Future Festival to be a free public event with many international organizations participating, many local governments participating, civil society organizations. And one crucial component in our overall aim of organizing this event is to ensure that this year's SIF continues to be the Caribbean's leading sustainability event. Our Small Island Future Festival is taking place on June 20th to the 21st at UE under the graduating tent.
Took my surprise away from me. I wanted to hold that date to the very end, but now you know it's June the 20th and 21st at the UWI under the graduation tent is where we'll all gather for the Small Island Future Festival. And that word in there, future, I think is a critical component to the naming of it. Because we see ourselves today, we see how we live today, we engage in so many other ways, but are we engaging in sustainable ways, and are we engaging in better ways to ensure sustainability as well? So let's look at our future for just a moment, and that's where the festival comes into play, because it helps us to understand what we do today and how it impacts on our future, but how we can begin now to reshape our future as well. And so, Ashley, you forgot the orange zone. Briefly, could you tell us what we can expect in the orange zone?
Yeah, so, well, briefly, person, you just challenged me. But the orange zone plays a very important role, because in order for persons to really understand sustainability, what better way to have the fusion between your culture, you know? So we have 3 ambassadors this year, Mikey, Chelsea, and also Ocean. They'll be representing the orange economy, the blue economy, and also the green economy. But also within the Small Island Future Festival, we'll be having a schools spelling bee competition. We'll be having a schools debating competition. We also brought in AnimeCon for persons to dress in cosplay, representing the future of our planet, but utilizing some Barbadian change makers as well. So that's another fun component that persons can look forward to. But the orange economy really comes into play, like the green fashion show, the sizzle and jazz night, the pickle and the soca day, to really break down some of the complex terms into something that could be more fun. And I think persons connect to anything through storytelling, which is a part of the orange economy, but also a part of our culture. And a part of our culture is really where sustainability meets future, as you rightfully mentioned. So
you talked about Ocean, Chelsea Toak,
yes.
and Mikey Mercer.
Yes.
And there's a competition there between them as well as ambassadors?
Yes.
How does that work?
So there is a SIF challenge. So in the lead up to June 20th to the 21st, they will be running multiple challenges across social media. So basically it's a competition to see if the green economy will win, the orange economy, or the blue economy. So they're in their competitive spirit, so we're looking forward to seeing how best persons can engage within the different economies, and there will be lots of prizes to win as well in the lead up to the SIFT through those 3 ambassadors which we announced that they launched.
So keep watching their social media platforms, keep watching the social media platform of SIF as well, and you will find yourself a winner. But David, Ashley hinted to the ecosystem of the United Nations and, and all of this plays into that level of sustainability as well, and the work that I know you do from the UNDP perspective to aid this. Talk to me a little bit about the involvement.
Yeah, the UN does so much in terms of sustainable development. You're aware that we have the Sustainable Development Goals, and this is really an opportunity to highlight how we've been working towards facilitating the country's achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. And there's so many agencies. We have UNDP, of course, United Nations Development Program. We have the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. We have PAHO, American Health Organization, we have the World Food Program, we have UNICEF, we have UNFPA, so many agencies. But what we do, we deliver as one. And we have a new resident coordinator, Simon Spriggett, and he's doing an excellent job bringing the agencies together and ensuring that we deliver on that mandate of delivering as one. And so it's really an opportune time for you to see these agencies together and the work that they do collectively at the Small Island Future Festival.
I'm sure from where you sit as well, you'll see opportunities for investment.
That's it. We facilitate significant investment throughout the Caribbean and globally, and also specifically in Barbados. The Small Island Future Fest really presents this opportunity for you to see some of our grantees, people who benefit from this. But I must not neglect that this particular festival is on the patronage of Her Excellency, Dame Sandra Mason, our president. And she's been a patron from day one, and she continues to be, and she does such an excellent job, very graceful, always a champion for sustainability and for women's rights. Amazing. We are blessed to have her. I also want to use this opportunity to also recognize Lieutenant Coast Guard Wiggins, who's the new aide-de-camp. He is also doing amazing job. And we have to recognize when we have good people, and we have to laud them while we still can.
I totally agree with you on that. So it's happening June 20th and 21st under the big graduation tent at the UWI Cave Hill campus, and it's open to everyone.
That's it.
But there's opportunities for school children to engage. There are opportunities for us older ones to engage, and then you younger ones in between as well to engage. And so there's an activity for which you can be a part. And so we want you to really come out to this year's edition of the Small Island Future Festival. There's a mixture of everything in there for it to be a wholesome activity. And so let's come. Let's have a good time. It's on the 20th and it's free.
It's totally free.
In capital letters. So you don't have
with exclamation marks. So it's free. It's absolutely free. Just walk onto the campus June 20th to 21st and engage all day long from 9 in the morning till about 8 in the evening, right? That's what I heard you say. So about 12 hours basically to engage in sustainable activities and sustainable, look and see the different ways that we can all employ sustainability within our own daily lives. And whether it's through the solar panels or other systems of recycling, all of that is going to be happening on those days. You will see for yourself real life examples of how what you do affects sustainability, and hopefully out of that how you can change that behavior to employ ways of sustainability in what you do as well. So it's a no-brainer. June 20th and 21st on the grounds of the UWI Cayfield campus under the graduation tent. It's a big space, all sorts of lived and living examples of what's possible and how you can engage with that sustainability as well. Thank you so much, Dr. David Bino of the UNDP, and of course, Ashley Lashley, Executive Director of the Ashley Lashley Foundation. Estelita Pyle says, I love this guy, David Bino. He's very educated. Patricia Ben is saying, you speak it, Ashley Lashley. Speak it loudly, so that we can all hear. We're very proud of you indeed. So folks are already talking about this. I really want you not just to talk, but to come. Come to the small and follow. How we can follow?
Follow us on Instagram at sif.bb and on Facebook at Small Island Future Festival.
Small Island Future Festival. I'm this Facebook guy. Small Island Future Festival on Facebook or sif.bb on Instagram. Follow. But come and engage as well. Broaden your mind and see what's possible. See? Small Island Future Fest and is right there. Don't mind the 2019 part, so what? But that's the Facebook page onto which you go. That's where you shall see all. Follow it right there and you'll see what's happening. Or go to sif.bb on Instagram and follow there as well. Thank you, gentlemen and lady.
Thank you.
And Mornin Barbados comes right back right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Week after week, Scold presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with extraordinary images and stories and takes him into
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
28 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock as we turn our attention still post-election time in Trinidad and Tobago. Rachel Agard was here leading up to. She's here now to let's take a look back at what happened on the 28th of April in Trinidad and Tobago. Rachel, good morning.
Yes, sir.
Any surprises for you?
It was a total shocker. I was not expecting that to happen at all.
So what were you expecting to happen?
I was expecting the PNM to be voted back into office. But I have since learned that only 54% of the electorate came out to vote. So I think, you know, there was a little bit of, we might be discontented. We're not going to the polls. I tired of you, so I just ain't coming out.
But the UNC were able to pull out their voters.
Yes, they were. One thing I would give them kudos for, though, is their messaging. They were there in your face all the time. You know, they had that yellow is the code, and I think that stuck in everybody's mind, as opposed to the PNM, who had quite a few taglines. So it may have been a bit conflicting. And I guess they were able to resonate with the younger people.
Yes. One of the things I also noted about the UNC was their tag, which was, if UNC wins, we all win.
Yes.
And do you think that made a big difference?
I think so, because when you make it more personable, it resonates more with people in the sense that I could say, well, yeah, I could see myself doing this and identifying with this. So that may have been it.
One of the other things that they did as well, they didn't launch the UNC a manifesto. They launched mini, if I could call it so, festos, where it seemed as if for us, parish by parish, they each had their own manifesto, so to speak, as opposed to a big able manifesto with all sorts of big promises and the like. Do you think that was in any way effective?
Perhaps, but I think as well, given how the economies are across the region, people were trying to see how it benefited them, as opposed to the PNM, who were trying to be a bit more realistic given how things are, if you understand what I mean.
I do.
But at the same time, I am hopeful that they can deliver on their promises. I saw a discussion ongoing about the 10% that they promised.
The public workers.
But they actually did not promise if they were going to get the 10% all at once, or if it was over a period of years.
Yes.
So I guess time will tell.
Time will definitely tell. And so the question, you're right, is how do they fund these things that they're promising?
Yeah.
And so, like you said, time will tell. But you know, Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, the incoming Prime Minister, is talking now about bringing everyone along. And I want to show you something, a news report that came out of TTT Live that we caught, that we want to share with everyone. Take a look.
Political analyst Dr. Bishnu Raghunath says while the results of the April 28th parliamentary elections was a surprise, the victory is not a landslide.
The people of Trinidad and Tobago have spoken, and their collective voices have loudly signaled a desire for change following the 2025 general elections, as the United National Congress has been re-elected to government. Prime Minister-elect Senior Counsel Kamala Prasad-Bissessar dedicated her victory to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, including senior citizens and public servants. She noted that the people of Trinidad and Tobago who have toiled and kept the faith deserved better.
This victory is to reopen the Children's Hospital. This victory is to reopen Petrotrin. This victory is to once again give laptops to our children. This victory is to create over 50,000 jobs. And so, the victory is yours.
She said the UNC has fought a clean campaign focused on policies, plans and programs after years of listening to citizens and taking note of their wants, needs, hopes and desires.
It is now that the real work starts. From day one, we'll be focused on delivering on our promises, working to make every citizen's life better, brighter, more prosperous. I give you the assurance tonight that no one will be left behind. No one will be left behind. Because when UNC wins, everybody wins.
According to Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar, the UNC will be with all of Trinidad and Tobago each step of the way over the next 5 years and beyond.
You have an elected people-centered government for the people, by the people, and with the people. So permit me again to say thank you. Thank you. Let us rejoice and celebrate this day in our history. This has been a tremendous blessing. And once again, I thank you, Trinidad and Tobago.
During her celebratory speech, Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar thanked every UNC candidate and the candidates of the Coalition of Interests for their extremely hard work. Jason John, TTT News.
So there we go, Rachel. 73 years old she is now, taking up again the Prime Ministership. What do you see to be the possibility of her serving her term out and perhaps identifying a new leader?
Honestly, I I don't see her going past a year, given her age for one. I think now would be a time to start identifying somebody to pass the baton to and go out on a high. There's nothing wrong with passing it on. As Mr. Hinkson said recently, sometimes you need to pass the baton for longevity and continuity. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Was that the strategy of the PNM? And look at the outcome.
Well, I am not entirely sure what happened over there, but funny thing is, right now everybody wants the political leader to resign. I've seen that ongoing discussion as well, and they're supposed to elect a new opposition leader today.
Correct. Speaking of that, good point to share with you now. What TTT is also reporting about the PNM's plan as it relates to an election of a new or appointment of a new opposition leader.
The People's National Movement will meet with their General Council on Wednesday to ratify the position of opposition leader. The PNM conceded defeat in the 2025 general election on Monday night at about 10 p.m. Political leader Dr. Keith Rowley said the PNM will move expeditiously into opposition and a decision will be made on the next opposition leader. He said the party will begin from Tuesday to prepare for the next call in 60 months.
We'll meet on Wednesday and will direct the elected members of the House as to who should be supported for the position of opposition leader. That is a position that we have held before. And even from there, we provide human service to the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Meanwhile, PNM chairman and outgoing Prime Minister Stuart Young indicated that he looks forward to playing a key role in the party as it moves forward.
And you know, there it is. Stuart Young was not basking really, but walking in the shadow of Dr. Keith Rowley. And somehow that shadow overpowered him.
It did. It did. And I think now he needs his opportunity to shine so that people get to know the real Stuart Young as opposed to, well, he is just a little Dr. Rowley. Yeah.
And so now we have three parties in Parliament. The Tobago People's Party joins as well. That switched from red to blue.
Yes.
And so what do you think is the possibility for comfort in the Parliament going forward?
I'm not sure. It will be interesting to see the three different parties come together and put their heads together for the betterment of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I think over in Tobago they decided to give the young people a chance, which is interesting because we talk so much about giving young people a chance, but then sometimes we don't like to let them flourish and bring their ideas to fruition. But it's nice that the young people were able to be given a chance over there. I am interested to see what they have on their agenda for the people of Tobago and by extension Trinidad as well.
Something tells me just like you, we will also be following what's going on to get a sense of it. And of course, I'll always invite you back to lend your... I like that. I like that. She's highly blessed and, what's it again?
Blessed and highly flavored.
That's Rachel Agard indeed. Love this lady to the death. And so we thank you, Rachel, for joining us again on Morning Barbados.
My pleasure.
Always. Morning Barbados comes right back after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
17 to the hour. A couple of people to say happy birthday to today. Sonia Aline, congratulations today on your birthday. All the best to you indeed, coming from you know who, the giant in the room. So congratulations to you, Sonia Ali. She's the mother of our sound operator today, Tristan. And so to you, Sonia, we wish you the absolute best. It's also today the birthday of Norma Hunt, my good friend Norma Hunt, and Jane Small. They both sing with me in the Barclay Singers. So to Norma Hunt and Jane Small joining Sonia Aline, happy birthday to each of you. We hope you have a lovely, lovely today as you mark this milestone in your life, indeed. Now, speaking of marking milestones, we all grew up flying kites, didn't we? We all knew, I think, how to make a kite, to do the bull, to do a whole host of things, to hoist it in the air and just let it stay out there till thy kingdom come. We did all of that as children. And so that's one of our Easter traditions that we marked. And so the BTMI thought, let's capture that Easter tradition of Barbados. And so, take a look.
As Easter approaches, the skies in Barbados come alive with vibrant displays of bat kites and Bajan paste kites, all in an array of colors, shapes, and sizes. From the most intricate designs to the biggest structures, kite flying is a cherished pastime deeply woven into the island's culture and heritage. Every year, many venture with their kites to the nearest open playing field or popular spots like the scenic botanical gardens and the historic Garrison Savannah. These spaces become lively hubs where families and friends enjoy the outdoors, togetherness, and the spectacle in the sky. In recent times, there's the convenience of buying ready-made creations from roadside vendors or from some supermarkets and stores. However, there are still those who find joy in the hands-on craft of making and testing their skills with each attempt to send their designs soaring. Jawolf is among the skilled artisans keeping the tradition of Bajan paste kites alive.
My name is Yvonne Franklin, alias Jawolf. I got into kite making and flying due to my dad. The first set of competitions that was held in Barbados was taking place on the Hastings Rocks. He used to make kites for competition, and that sort of got me off to the start of kite making and flying.
Though kite making is not unique to Barbados, there are distinct elements that set a Bajan kite apart.
A Bajan paste kite is made from like wood. You frame it out. It can either be 3 or 4 sticks, right? And then you put your paper on. Where you can use a bed sheet or an old piece of rag or anything like that. You put your hands on, you can tear, and you can make your tail out of that. And the looping must be good. If you don't loop the kite properly, then you won't get a good balance. And the frame must be light in order to get good aerodynamics and things like that.
One of the most iconic features is the bull, which creates that familiar hum as the kite dances in the wind.
Flying kite in the earlier days, it was a joy, but you had to be very patient because there was no nylon or anything like that. So you had to fly kite with onion bags. You get the onion bags and you strand it out, tie it together, and you fly your kite with that. And then from there you go on to herringbone or crochet. That was the first set of cord that you fly kite with. I mean, from a little boy through the window, you would steal mommy's bath towel, pull the cotton out, and you fly your kite with that till you can go outside where you can get the herring bags and things like that to make your cord and be on your own.
In a time when interest in kite flying has somewhat waned, people like Terry Mexican Arthur are dedicated to passing the torch.
Kite flying was a very big thing in Brazil. All of the big guys would teach the younger guys how to make kites, how to fly kites. That's where I met Jawolf as a little boy. He would make kites and I would get some of his kites. And to this day, we still enjoy flying kites and making kites. I remember taking a drive through the country and seeing some little youngsters, like really struggling, trying to get these kites to fly. And I just remember going home and saying, I think I should try to at least get some kites, give them, donate, just giving back, and at least let them come and fly and learn how to put in the loops, learn how to average how much tail, and just even kite flying as a skill, is you know, it's not just like standing there and holding it. If you see it going down, there's certain things you got to do. Pill, you know, there's so much in the culture. And for me, who has come up in Britons Hill, which is really a very cultural community. I mean, when you think of Britons Hill, I mean, we had everything up there. Goat racing, horse racing, everything you could think of. So kite flying, and it's always been the older guys teaching the younger guys. So they wouldn't pass a little guy trying to put in loops and just walk past. They would stop and say, no, this is how you do it.
He has donated more than 700 kites in hopes of inspiring young Bajans to embrace this tradition.
Years going by, you will find that the smallest child, he would be next to the big guy, just waiting to be taught how to make and fly a kite. But the youth nowadays, they're not into that. It's just like the older folks now would take pride in making and flying a kite. I'm 67 now. And it's just still a joy for me to fly kite and to make kite. Around Easter time, Terry will come for me so that we can go to the garrison, fly kites with the little youngsters and teach them how to fly kite.
We did it in 2010, was the first year we did it. And we bought it's a mixture of Bajan kites and we bought some back kites and other, pretty kites, especially for the younger girls and stuff. But we got 700 kites, or it was years we got over 1,000. Now we just came down here, we give them out sometimes for weeks. Starting with the Easter weekend, right through. They had Easter camps, we would donate kites to the camp. Just a matter of giving back, man, and seeing the culture. It was good to see the children happy with just a simple kite. And there's something special about, for me, seeing a father and a son. The little son is trying to up the kite and then he's running back to the dad to hold the kite. It's so much memories for me. So it's just a matter of passing on the culture.
Terry adds a sentimental touch to kite making, often working with Ja Wolf and other artisans to craft personalized messages on tribute kites for notable figures like Richard Stout, Alison Hines, and Rihanna.
We've done it for a number of people. What we do is we paste the kite, and then I would get pictures from Facebook, probably if they want something, and we would just put the pictures onto the kite, put some pretty flowers or something around it, and then we would get lots of people to sign it with best wishes and positive stuff. I actually did one of those kites for Rihanna, and I remember when I gave it to her mom. I went down to the store her mom had in town, and just the way how she looked at it, it was for me, it was to me it was just a kite, but I realized that she was looking at it
as though it was
something deeper than just having this kite. She told me, I got so much gifts for Rihanna from different people, but no one has ever given me something like this. I had pictures of Rihanna's grandmother, I had pictures of her dad, everybody on it. It was a beautiful kite. And when Rihanna was getting ready to do the Super Bowl halftime show, and I saw the little clip, and Rihanna talking about kites. The culture in Westbury Road, that area is very big with kites. And it's only then, I said, this kite meant something deeper because she would have grown up seeing Rihanna flying kites. So it was something more than just a kite for her, right? Westbury, people that live, that's where they fly the kites. They would go in Westbury Cemetery and fly the kites because it's a big open area.
That's the only place now in Barbados that you find kites flying out throughout the whole year?
Right through the whole year.
You go to the funeral of Westbury, the kite flying.
So it seems to be something, another
take over now from Britain
down that side there with kites. It's very big. So the tribute kites that we do also very special. Almost everyone that has gotten one, has told me that they're going to cherish it. They have it put somewhere in the house where they can see it. They don't have it to fly, but they just have it put up in the house to treasure.
For some, kite making is purely a labor of love and a fond connection to their childhood. For others, like David, there was also the thrill of showmanship, competition, and a means of livelihood.
Well, my name is David Robinson. I'm a small businessman. I came in Parkinsonville, born and raised. And I get attached to making the little small pretty kites. And then one day this guy was flying a 4-foot kite. And I get the feeling of that. I say, nah man, that was small kites, man. I like this thing pulling me. And I got attached to that. Those were the days when you used to paste kites with flour and water. And the cockroach would eat it out at night. And you get the money, you have to go do it all over again. That was fun. We used to make kites out of trash bone. We call it, it's like a form of cane. So trash bone is like, it used to be like a form of wild bush that grow with something in a stickish form that you could use to pin it together and frame it and form a kite and stick it down on the whole 9 yards. And that was back then. My personal kite was a 6-foot kite, black and green plastic.
Kite flying competitions had various categories that celebrated creativity, from the most colorful to the most colossal, the most complex to the most thought-provoking.
And I say, wow, but our competition days were days that the guys look for. And there's lots of other guys too that in terms of the pretty kites. There's a taxi guy they call him nickname by Froth. There's Peter Wilshire. There's another guy for the pine that, but these are the pretty kite men. I don't go on their category, they don't come in mine. I give them their respect and they give me my respect. I pass the pretty stage category long. That's not my thing. I ain't got that tendency, make it one kite for 5 or 6 days. When I can make it one day and then. You know what I'm saying? But competition days were pleasant. It was a day, I remember walking down Darkyville, we had the whole roadblock with a kite, going across to the garrison, the cars come past. The kite's coming down because there was myself and another guy out in Dunside roadside that we used to class something is coming down. We used to come down from British Crossroad. There's a one-way street. We had to go to the guard walls. Easy over there with a stick and press this in the body hold the stick. We had the whole of Britain Crossroad taken up. When we get to that going back even now, cars had to stop. We had to tell cars stop to get over top cars. And then to go down by the corner. We get a little break when we get by the corner at Darky to go to Garrison, because the road is a bit wide. But we had the whole road taken up. So that alone, that coming to that height was great then. Then we get with Garrison, people waiting for the big to come down. But the Garrison already full already. And the visitors came in and the guys with this, actually, the guy that went the smallest kite on the Garrison, the first guy let out his kite, and it flew. The next guy went ahead of his kite, and the third guy went in his pocket for a matchbox. I take a kite out of the matchbox and let it out, and it flew on the Garrison in my presence. I saw that live. Take a kite out of a matchbox and let it out. I won first prize. The first guy thought he had the smallest kite. And kite flyers that, because I'm going to Garrison, I didn't feel what I'm saying clearly.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Week after week, Scold presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with extraordinary images and stories and takes him into fascinating worlds which he experiences here exclusively and up close. We're there when companies and specialists develop super satellites for a global network in space and can look behind the scenes.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, so there are 2 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock. Just to remind you that there's a lot happening today and a lot happening tomorrow as well. Today, vaccination opportunities continue for you to be having updates on your vaccination by attending all polyclinics indeed. And I really want to encourage all of you parents to take the cards in, let them see whether or not your child or young one has been appropriately vaccinated against a whole range of things. and you adults as well, because you need to be boosted if necessary. Also, the David Thompson Health and Social Services Polyclinic is happening opening day today, and I want to encourage as many of us as possible to go over there and also check on your status as well for vaccination, but engage in all of the activity that they're having there as well. And tomorrow, naturally being the 1st of May, is May Day. And so the St. John Parish Organizing Committee, they're launching in association with the Barbados Workers Union a big day tomorrow at Pools in St. John. And so we want to encourage you indeed to be there, to be a part of it. Poolwoods is where they're going to be having it, to be a part of that activity tomorrow. Also tomorrow, the St. Barnabas Anglican Church is having its big fair and family occasion for the flea market. And you know, as I said, it starts at 1 in the afternoon and runs until about 8 in the evening. So we want you to be a part of that as well. Very, very easy to get in to be a part of all of those activities. That is our time today. There is no show tomorrow, but we will return with you on Thursday, if it be the will, on Friday, if it be the will of the Lord indeed. And so I want to wish you all a lovely today, wonderful tomorrow. And today is also, I just want to remind you that today is the last day for filing of your income tax. Today, midnight tonight is the cutoff time. If you miss it by the stroke of 12:01, you're paying $500. Avoid the penalty. File today. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for keeping us company. Our little crew joins me in saying to all of you, have a lovely tomorrow. We'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning.